Hello and welcome to Stir Crazy Art class with Gerald Savine, lesson number 39. We're now going to continue with the painting of the hills and mountains in the background of Lake of Menteith and Ben Lomond in the distance. So okay, we're going to carry on now. Again, hopefully you can see you've had time to get some more of your stuff done here. I'm going to introduce a bit of greenery into this area here. The colour will get slightly stronger. I'm going to put a little bit of purple lake in with the green, just to dull it down, because again, when they're in the distance, it's more. Now that all that's okay. Oh, you're going to go. Ugh, that's a bit thingy. But as you pull the colour, it will thin down. And again, be careful going through here. I'm going to paint all of this through here with the green until we get to the sort of halfway stage. Again, we're going to be a little bit more character into the landscape. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the cerulean blue and Payne's grey into this. We've darkened this down, a bit of purple lake as well, quite a little bit of mixture of colour into here. But again, although it looks a bit bold and things, by the time we actually get it down on the paper, start pulling it, being careful we follow the shapes of the land. And again, see, we can then gradually get this colour mixed in with the green that's already there. Can you see how it's just blending in? That gives a bit of character to the mountains in the background. The other good thing I always think is sometimes you think, oh, that's not looking very good, but the time you've I'm just going to give a bit more character to that landscape there. Now it does need to be a bit more darker there, so it stands out from the background. From the mountain itself. So again, I'm going to be careful here. So I've got the line coming through. The reality is, we are creating a painting. We're not doing a photograph, and we never, as I always say, we never land up things looking quite the same each time we do them. But providing the colour hasn't dried, then the colour will blend in. And you can pull the colours around. So again, that gives a bit of a feeling of some character to the background. Again, I'm going to work on this area here now, just to make a bit of difference. I'm going to bring a bit more blue into it, so a bit more of the blue and the green together. So it's going to be a slightly different colouring. Again, you go, oh crumbs! Look at that, how strong that looks. But again, I'm going to put that colouring in this side as well, straight away, so that they match up. But again, I'm going to pull the colour here and here through, again, following the shape of the land we've already drawn out, coming up and coming down. Again, can you see it's able to have a difference between the land in the background and the colouring here. And I'm going to again bring it through here. Now what I need to do, I think, is perhaps bring a little bit more of the blue in with a little bit of the Payne's grey. Again, hopefully, if you've managed to mix up made a mixture with the ultramarine blue and burnt umber, you're going to nice thin. Oh, that's gone a bit too dark now. So again, here we can rescue that. I've washed the brush out and dampened the water off the brush so that it's not too much water on the brush itself, and that allows the brush to suck up the paint that's there. Let's just wash into that a little bit again. So we're going to get the feeling, hopefully, of the light coming from the left. Now what I'm going to also do while I'm here, I'm just going to put a bit more pigment in of the green, and I'm just going to add a little bit more down here and over here as well, so there's a little bit more character to the landscape itself. Alright, so what you need to be careful now is not to get too excited and start painting here, because this is now damp. So what we're going to do is had a chance for this area to dry off. There are trees here, there's some bare rocks and things. Again, it's quite an amazing sort of landscape. I'm using the green and a little bit of the Payne's grey in there. Again, I'm just going to be careful about this. I'm a bit more green, I think, in here, because again, as it's coming, I'm washing my brush out just to make sure I haven't got too much of the colours on, and also running my brush round off the. I'm twiddling the brush off there so that there's not too much water on the brush itself. Now, so here. I'm going to pick up a bit more pigment, so it's not so watery, and I'm just going to dab the colour on, just again to give a feeling that there might be some which in fact there are, and coming down here, that there are trees in the landscape. Can you see just how that's sort of beginning to come along? Again, at this stage, because it's so this is quite a long way away. This is above the village of Aberfoyle. So it's quite a long way away. I'm just going to put a bit of Payne's grey in with the green here, because again we make it a little bit darker, give it a bit more character. So it's the landscape's going over the hill a little bit. But again, you see the other thing where colour adds perspective is as it gets nearer to you, it becomes richer. So as we work our way along, we'll be gradually adding more and more pigment in, so it's not so wishy-washy. But just gives just a feeling of there's trees there. Now again, bearing in mind we were thinking about trees and things. Now here there are some fields, so again here I'm just going to again, because it's away from us, the greens are subtler, if you like, and not so prominent. So I'm just going to bring colouring down here, just to give a little feeling of that. And I don't know if you can see, we're going to be bringing the ground here is more rock-like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a little bit of raw sienna in, just to change the colour a little bit, give it a slightly more rocky feel, I hope. But again, at this stage we're keeping it fairly thin. I'm going to have to watch the time. Let's see. So again here I'm just bringing a little bit more. So again, just coming up here. And what I'm going to do here is, again, we've got, as it comes down, it gets more greenery. The trees die out, tree lines is lower down than the actual. About another 5 minutes, I think. My assistant will tell me all about that. Now again here, I'm going to bring in some of the green again down here. Just blend it in. Now I'm not so worried about where I've drawn the sort of what I call the tree-like trees that can be more detailed lower down. because this colour is quite thin and it'll be fairly easy to go over. Now again here I'm just going to bring some of that green up there. It's very subtle, and I must confess. We're just going to put a bit more pigment in here. Can you see that unfortunately what's happened is because it's wet, it's gone and bled into the bit of a landscape next to it a bit too soon. But it's beginning to, can you see it's beginning to take shape, it's beginning to have a feeling of coming towards you. What I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave that bit for the moment because I don't want to keep it, keep bleeding. I'm going to go back over here now. So here, within the next few minutes that we've got, I'm going to work with the blue and a bit of green in it. When a little bit of the grey coming, bring the grey into it a bit, and I'm going to again here. Now that's quite strong, so I'm going to again wash the brush out, start pulling the colour down. See now, fortunately, because this others has dried, it hasn't bled into it. I managed to retain the shape of the hills. Now again here we can come up lighter, and it's dark, and a bit darker here. But then it gets a bit thinner here. Now then we're going to make this slightly stronger colouring to let it stand out from the hill behind. I'm going to put a little bit of the raw sienna into that as well, just to make just to deliberately make a slight difference. Tidy there, careful along there. And again here, I'm just going to bring this colouring in here. But now on this occasion, I'm going to make this a bit thinner this side. So again, it's lighter than the hill behind it, which in fact I will do here as well. So again I can pull the colour and make this stronger here, become light, become stronger there. Can you just begin to see how it, a bit of purple lake into that again, just to give it a bit of difference, help push it into, oh, you can see that's, now but by working the colour, washing the brush out so we've got enough of that going, and just pulling that through there. We can put a little bit of that into there as well. Right, but just gradually we're getting slight differences going on. Give some character to the landscape. And here I'm just going to dab some colour on to get a good feeling. Perhaps there's some trees in the distance. And we're going to start again doing here. Now first, the landscape here was far more purple in it. Again, it's coming back to how the rock formations are of the hills. So we're just about coming to the end of this session. We'll be having some more to go. So just see if I can get this in before the time goes all together. So a bit of character into that there. So I've been using a bit of the blue just to soften it down. But whoops, daisy. And what I will do, what you can do, is bring some green into that. Okay, now the time's up now. When we come to do the next session, we will carry on doing the painting of the background, and hopefully we can get into doing the lake itself. Okay, well, say bye.